No, but I think that was the county. Wasn't the county having one?
That was the county.
That was the county.
And it's being, it is free, it's a free non-emergency for seniors in town. That's the ambulance squad has a very long time.
See if they would take it under their all the drivers and taking the call. It was a great outcome for the borough, and the chief was very kind, and Mike to help us with a car and to get it rehabbed. I mean, it's a great story, and so we want to support you in any way we can to help get this off the ground.
We'll see how it goes. I have it.
What kind of a commitment are you looking for the drivers?
You know, right now, until we find out exactly what the need is in town, it is really on-call basis. So when a call comes in the same way that I'm also coordinating now, this was part of the deal, I'm coordinating the non-ambulatory. So when a call comes in and somebody needs a ride, I then put out a call to people and try and find someone to take that resident wherever they need to go. So I think that will work. And when I first started about almost 12 years ago with the Red Cross doing transportation, there were many, not a huge amount, but many Glen Ridge residents who actually used the service.
Yeah.
From all parts of town, not just one part. And there were people who've been here a long time and had been involved in the Red Cross themselves or just knew the service. So I think they may be out there still.
Meredith, now you can't call at 7 and try to get a ride at 8 o'clock. There's a delay, right?
Right. What we're doing now, and this is a little different, we are making it that there needs to be a 2-day, at least, reservation. And we're really only going to do this between 8 and 5. And that's going for the non-ambulatory as well. There might be some, once in a while. But that's how we're going to do it. It's 8 to 5. You need to make a reservation at least 2 days in advance. And it's also, if we can find, if volunteers are available. I'm anticipating that there will never be that problem because everybody always steps up. But, there is a chance that, if there's too many people who need rides at once. Let's see if there's anything else.
Do individuals call a number at the ambulance line?
Yes, I forgot this is filmed for everybody. I have created a new Google voicemail, and so there will be, there's an actual number, and it goes, I don't pick it up, but I get a text and an email right away as soon as someone leaves a message. So I've answered. I actually was talking to people from Toronto. I think it was 2 weeks ago I was getting calls and I needed to talk to people, so I did that.
Great.
And
What is the number?
862,
Right.
am I saying? 621-9245.
Great. That's great.
Okay. So if anybody would like to see this, if you want to pass things around, as evidence, no. Anybody can see this if they want to afterwards. Okay.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank you for coming, and thank you for being in charge and putting it together for us.
Okay. And we'll
It's a
see
great
what happens.
service.
I'll come back and report.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you,
All right,
Meredith.
thanks.
Okay. We have other members of the public. We have anyone else that wants to, please, come up.
Hi, good evening. Chris Foster from 11 Laurel Place.
Hi, Chris.
Some of my fellow residents, younger and less young, are here tonight as we've been for a number of meetings.
Right.
Just to find out if there's any new information regarding the hospital redevelopment, potential impacts to our neighborhood, and efforts to mitigate that impact.
I guess simple answer is no new information to report. Mike, anything you want to add on that?
So we're having a kickoff meeting with Montclair and the consultants this Thursday morning.
And where is that going to be? Is it public?
This is going to be at the Council of Montclair. It's going to be a working meeting, setting schedule, determining the traffic locations and the timing of that. So it's going to be more a work meeting rather than a public meeting.
Okay. I mean, I think the last time we spoke at the last meeting, we were anticipating, we had a schedule of, January before the report would be prepared?
At this time, we're anticipating the report's going to be completed in January. However, we'll have several neighborhood meetings prior to that, and we'll also have presentations at the planning board level and at the council level where we'll have public hearings.
Right. Now, I went on the website today, and there is, right front and center, there's a tab for Mountainside Hospital redevelopment plan. You can look at that. There's several drawdown tabs that are like subsets of that. And we're trying to get the information and keep it real time and out there. Plus, we also have your emails and addresses, and if anything of note were to come and take place, we would communicate that.
And the purpose of Thursday meeting is to set mostly the timetable which we can publish and give, and we would post that on our webpage.
Okay.
So we will develop a schedule, not only the meetings, but when we're going to have the traffic counts at the different locations.
Right.
Great. Do you know, will there be an opportunity for neighborhoods that are particularly concerned like ours to speak directly with the consultants about our concerns, or is that more for the neighborhood?
No, I think we brought it up at that last meeting and speak to some residents about it. We're going to have design charrettes. And my advise us that if there's a neighborhood that's in particular that wants to meet with the consultant, we can make an appointment during the design shred, and there's one tentatively that's going to be held during weeknight evening, and then possibly one on a Saturday.
Okay.
So probably the best is as a group, if you want a particular time to express your observations and opinions, that would be my recommendation. That'd be the best forum for that.
Okay, great. And clearly, from our continued presence, we'd be very interested in doing that and participating as actively as possible in the process.
Thank you.
Fair enough.
Great.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks.
Okay, anyone else? Anyone else from the public? Okay, I just have, I have one comment. What did I do with it? There was a note that came out from the police department, and it, if you don't mind me, Chief, it's this National Teen Driver Safety Week is October 18th through 24th, and this addresses the issue of teen driving and how many teens are dying as a result of traffic accidents. And there are 5 words of wisdom that if parents would pass it along to their children. Number 1 is no drinking and driving. You know, the incidence of fatalities and teenagers and driving, there's a high element of alcohol involved, typically. Buckle up your seatbelt every trip, every time. Seatbelts are the number 1 safety thing you can do in a car, and it's amazing the number of teens who are hurt in traffic accidents who are not wearing their seatbelts. So if we could, you know, reiterate that to our teens and set a good example by ourselves wearing seatbelts, I think we would be doing ourselves and our families a service. Put it down. One text or one call could wreck it all. I think that's pretty self-evident. If we could really reiterate to our teens and again, set a good example. Don't text and drive. Stop speeding. In 2013, almost 30% of teen drivers involved in fatal crashes those crashes were at excess speed, and no more than 1 passenger at any time when dictated by New Jersey law. And I think it's you know, it's hard to tell your kids when they're young drivers not to have their friends in the car with them, but we have to resist that because it's very distracting when you have young drivers who are in the car and they're driving down the street and there's a lot of activity going on in the car. It's very distracting for the driver. So I definitely want to support, I know our chief wants to support this effort to try and make our kids safer when they're in the car. And that's my comment for tonight. Stewart?
Thank you, Mayor. The Administration and Finance Committee has no formal report this evening, but we do have 2 resolutions.
Yep.
I have Resolution 118-15. Be resolved that the following claims be approved and warrants be drawn for the same. We have a current fund grand total of $256,739, the bulk of which is payroll. And be it resolved that the Chief Financial Officer Treasurer of the Borough of Glen Ridge is hereby authorized to issue the payroll for the employees of the Borough of Glen Ridge with the pay date of October 15, 2015. I move the resolution.
You heard the resolution. May I get a second? Dave?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any comment, council? Will the clerk call the roll?
Councilperson Patrick?
Aye.
Lefkowitz?
Aye.
Dawson? Aye. Murphy?
Aye.
Morrow?
Aye.
5 ayes, no nays, the resolution is
Stuart, may I interrupt for just a quick second?
Sure.
Now, I know this is all riveting stuff, paying our bills and stuff, but if the residents of Laurel Place would like to adjourn themselves, it would be certainly understandable. There you go. Thank you for coming. Okay, sorry, Stuart.
No problem. And I have resolution number 119-15.
Yeah.
Be it resolved by the Council of the Borough of Glen Ridge, Essex County, New Jersey, that warrants be drawn to the below listed individuals in mortgage processing service in designated amounts representing overpayment of tax as follows. And we have 2 refunds being sought with a total amount of $10,658. And be it further resolved that the individuals in mortgage processing service listed above have advised that they want a refund rather than applying these payments to their taxes. I move the resolution. I'll second that.
Thank you. Any comments? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilperson Patrick?
Aye.
Lefkowitz?
Aye.
Dawson? Aye. Murphy?
Aye.
Morrow?
Aye.
5 ayes, no nays, resolution is approved.
Great.
That concludes my remarks as far as finance and administration go. In the absence of Councilman Vasovich, I have ordinance number 1633 for final reading. This is an ordinance to amend chapters 10.16, which is for designated stop intersections.
Mr. Mayor, this is state for record that this ordinance has been properly posted and advertised in accordance with the state statute.
Okay, thanks, Mike. And I declare the hearing open for a discussion of this ordinance, and only this ordinance, this being the time and place for public discussion. Mike, would you please give us a little background on the...
Basically, we have two T intersections. You got residents with complaining about drivers under basically state traffic regulations. If you have a T intersection, the street that ends is technically a stop sign. You have to stop. And at these two locations, we had numerous residents complain that drivers were not stopping when they were entering the through street. And so we looked at both Overlook and on the south end, and we determined that public safety.
And there's one on Essex, right? Isn't there one?
Outlook. We determined that for public safety, we should put stop signs.
Right. So a T intersection is, you come down the hill, and let's say you come into Essex, you would expect to have a stop sign as you come down the hill, and there isn't one. So we're just going to go ahead and place those stop signs. It's not going to really affect anything.
And the other location will be a stop sign on Adams Place at Hawthorne.
Right, okay. Anyone from the public care to speak? Seeing none, I declare the hearing closed.
Mr. Mayor, I move this ordinance be finally passed.
Okay, David, can I get a second?
I'll second that, sure.
Thank you. You've heard the motion by Councilperson Patrick, seconded by Councilman Lefkowitz. Will the clerk please call a roll?
Councilperson Patrick.
Aye.
Lefkowitz.
Aye.
Dawson. Murphy.
Aye.
Morrow.
Aye.
5 ayes, no nays. The ordinance is passed on that final reading.
Thanks, Mike.
That concludes remarks on public safety.
Thank you, Stuart. David?
Mr. Mayor, I have no formal report this evening, but I would like to just briefly report out that at our last meeting, we had correspondence from the Lackawanna Coalition, this sort of
Right.
public transit advocacy group. So I did contact the head of that group, and I was a little disappointed to find out that their meetings are on, they're in Millburn, and they overlap with this meeting. So
Oh.
I was curious to attend the meeting, and that's not going to happen anytime soon. But I think there were two takeaways from that conversation. One is that the cutback in service that they were complaining about, at least in the short run, does not apply to Glen Ridge.
Okay.
But the larger takeaway is that the NJ Transit Board feels entitled to do this without really any prior notification or public hearing. So although our level of service was spared this time, that's not to say that something like that couldn't happen. And the best way to sort of represent our interest is as a town government, even more so than advocacy groups
Okay.
like the Lackawanna Coalition. So they would listen to us, I think,
Right.
above all.
Right, I think
So
that's right.
so those were the main takeaways.
Okay, well, thank you for looking into that for us. Thanks, David.
Now, I also have Resolution 120-15 concerning the Governor's Council on Alcoholism and Drug Abuse and their fiscal grant cycle. Whereas the Governor's Council on Alcoholism and Drug Abuse established municipal alliances for the prevention of alcoholism and drug abuse in 1989 to educate and engage residents, local government and law enforcement officials, schools, nonprofits, the faith community, parents, youth, and other allies in efforts to prevent alcoholism and drug abuse throughout New Jersey. And whereas the Borough of Glen Ridge and the Council recognizes that the abuse of alcohol and drugs is a serious problem and has established the Municipal Alliance Committee. Now, the Borough Council has applied for funding to the Governor's Council, and we are putting forth a strategic plan for the Glen Ridge Municipal Alliance in the amount of $38,850 for drug education and demand
second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Art. Any comment?
Who is, the people that are on the, or the lead person on this?
Nancy McMahon.
Nancy McMahon?
Any other questions? Will the clerk call the roll, please?
Councilperson Patrick?
Aye.
Lefkowitz?
Aye.
Dawson? Aye. Murphy?
Aye.
Morrow?
Aye.
5 ayes, no nays, the resolution is approved.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, David. Art?
Now, I have a brief report of public works activity since the last meeting.
Okay.
Parks crew continues to prepare the athletic fields for events. The new field at George Washington is holding up extremely well to the use and to the rain. The new field is taking the load off some of our other natural grass fields. The major work on the reconstruction of Essex Avenue is complete, only punch list items remain. The police department is conducting a traffic count, and this information will be presented to the public with a final striking plan recommendation. This is related to exactly what kind of, whether we have a double line, a single line, or side lines on the streets. And there was some question by the residents about that. So we'll see what the traffic load is, and then see what it would make sense to do there. We're also finalizing the design work, excuse me, for the new backup generator that will power the entire municipal complex. This project will allow public safety and administrative offices, as well as the library, to function during a power outage. We anticipate having this product out to bid in November. Once the project is awarded, we will have an estimated time for installation. The delivery time of generators varies. It makes it difficult to provide an estimated installation date at this point, but where it likely will be out back where the ramp goes down to the water department office, and then the generator that's over
Here in
there
front?
now by the police department would be moved down to the town yard, and we use that to run the town yard, and in the eventuality we have a problem.
Would Mike, and you may know Art, but may not, would that generator be powerful enough to run the library as well?
This one is,
Yeah.
the new one.
The new one
Yeah,
would be?
we'll run the whole
And
world.
all the elevators and?
Yeah,
Yeah, great.
and the air conditioning and the
Right.
heat.
What it would do is, right now, because of the different municipal facilities, whenever we have a event, we never know where we're gonna have a heating station or a comfort station.
Right, exactly.
So we can't communicate till after the event. The whole idea of this, we applied for, probably gonna receive $148,000 FEMA grant for this project.
Yep.
Is to have to know that we're gonna have a warming center in the library and municipal building, or a cooling center, whatever the case may be.
Yep.
So that was part of our application, that was one of the deficiencies we had in our emergency management plan.
Yep.
Is that we didn't have any known cooling or heating centers prior to the event.
Well, if you recall, when Sandy hit, we made provisions by reaching out to the Congregational Church, and we brought, the Red Cross brought in cots and blankets, and we had everything ready for that.
So at least we could announce before the event that we do have a center that's gonna be equipped and fully functional.
Right, great.
And we'll also, by having it back here, we can run it off the big diesel tank.
Is this going to happen this year, you think, 2015?
I would think probably would be next year, because right now the grant is being reviewed by FEMA, and as soon as we see the FEMA funding, the design is completed,
Okay.
we'll be able to put it out to bid.
But Art, you mentioned diesel, why wouldn't we use gas?
Because we didn't have enough pressure, we had tested, we didn't have enough pressure to run the size generator that we need for our.
Okey-dokes.
Okay. Is that it, Art?
Yeah, so that covers what I
Okay.
have, and, you know, our snow equipment is ready in the eventuality that
Talk
there's
about
snow.
Last time we had snow in October,
Yeah.
big
It's not
problem.
gonna snow. How's that?
That's good.
Councilman Murphy?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. First pleasure, the pumpkin hunt is on for Saturday, October 24th at 9 a.m. at Carteret,
Okay.
and I'm very excited to announce that. In
Very
addition to that, Mr. Mayor, race applications for the Ashenfeld 8K Classic. You may have received one earlier or late last week, but they went out, and we will have extra race applications at the train station. And of course, folks can contact me directly if they want to have information about that annual Thanksgiving Day race. It includes an 8-kilometer, 5-mile race up and down Ridgewood Avenue, and also the increasingly popular Tom Fleming Mile for kids, predominantly for kids, but we give out trophies for age groups 1 through 15, 16.
Okay.
So it's a fun event for everybody. It's very well attended. It's one of the top events in the state of New Jersey. Through social media, I became aware of the playground equipment at Carteret Park. It's 18 years old actually, and it's substandard. And we're looking at doing something, either replacing it or just fixing the missing pieces. It's something that we're absolutely looking into, Mr. Mayor, and hopefully we'll get a resolution and that playground equipment fixed by springtime, perhaps next year. On the sodding front of Forest and Carteret, the mouths of the goals, you can imagine the grass area in front, they're going to be resodded. And I recommended earlier today to Jim Cowan that we actually move the lining of the field at Carteret a little further east so that we can get that sod down sooner than later, so it perhaps could get knitted into the soil and it will be ready for lacrosse come springtime.
Great.
As Art mentioned, George Washington Field is taking the heat off of these fields, and it's what a difference that field has made to the other fields. I'd also like to propose at Carteret to remove the backstop, because we are going to increasing the size of that field by taking out the baseball playing field to the far east of it, and since that will be taken out, I know we didn't really discuss this before, but that backstop and the fencing, it would be better if we just removed that. Maybe bringing in big construction equipment and let the Public Works Department pull it out and
Do we have to remove the backstop, or could we relieve the backstop but just take out the infield?
Yeah, I see no reason to keep the backstop. I don't see, now that George Washington Field is online, we don't really use that field, and it was always a little bit too short. The
Well, it
fencing,
is.
You know, so
Even I can hit a home run on right field over there.
that's funny, Mr. Mayor.
Ball's backyard.
And I think that concludes my comments for
Great.
this evening.
I think, to public media and the concern about Carteret, I mean, we certainly will bring that playground up to code, and certainly want to make it gets a lot of use down
It
there.
does.
So we certainly want to.
Very popular.
I noticed that the water main was removed recently there, the water main that was intended to fill the ice rink. It's been removed, and now there's just dirt and seed. Did you know that was
Yeah,
going on?
Mr. Mayor, I met with Billy from Department of Public Works and with Jim Cowan earlier in the summertime, and there were a couple of dead trees, and we removed the trees and planted cement where the trees were in two of the squares, and it really created a better area in front of that ice rink, which is they'll never have ice.
But in that grass area, there was some work done. We
removed that yellow pipe.
Yeah.
And we also
Wasn't that the pipe that was the water to fill the
No, there was another pipe. That was for a future water.
water apparatus?
We could always dig it up and
Basically being like a splash area.
Okay.
And then
Oh, okay.
And then it was determined that the grass area was needed more than for
Yeah.
the water feature.
No, I think it's
And that
great.
was a hazard too, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
And we also removed the bike rack, which was
Right.
never used.
Not being used.
Never used.
Put it over by the train station.
Wasn't one that was user-friendly. Mr. Mayor.
Incidentally, Chief, I want to talk to you about it. We have to get the message out to the bike riders who, I support. I like to ride a bike. I know you do, Dan, as well. But with the change in light, I mean, it gets dark now at 6:30. These people are getting off the trains, they're jumping on their bikes, and they're driving up and down Ridgewood Avenue, and there's not one light on the bike. And it's not enough to just have a reflector. You got to have a light, and it's got to be visible to people who are driving a car, whether they're coming up behind you or coming down at a T intersection. And so, Chief, I really think this is something that public safety needs to look at. We need to put a sign up at the train station advising bicycle riders that they need to light their bikes when it's dark outside.
The runners too ought to at least.
Well, runners, I think, for the most part, do wear stripes, but bike people, they get off the train and they don't. They don't have a reflective vest.
Don't attack the runners.
And I think that really, I'm not trying to pick a fight with bike riders, but I think it's a hazard for themselves and for people who are driving cars. So
Some of those guys.
I think it's an issue, and there's more and more people riding bikes.
There are, Mr. Mayor, just on Saturday, we celebrated the Put the Brake on Day Challenge Day, and there was an activity in the evening of stopping petacyclists and reminding them of the lighting. We didn't have as many because it was a weekend,
Okay.
but we'll make sure that that's on though.
Great. I think
The runners too, they should, get one of the stripes or something like that, to,
We can't give the runners a summons, we could give the
Yeah. And look, I'm not suggesting we even give them summons. I think we just need to raise the awareness that,
Every bicycle by law has to have a reflector on it, but some of these bicycles are old and they predate that law, so therefore, guys are getting on their, or women are getting on their bikes, they're rushing home, they're not thinking,
Yeah.
and
and they're putting themselves and then their families at risk.
Some of them have backpacks with flashing lights.
That'd be great.
Those are great.
But they need something that's visible from both front
Yeah.
and back, in my opinion. Okay.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, that concludes my...
Thanks, Dan. Councilperson Morrow.
Okay, I have no formal planning committee report tonight. The planning board is meeting next Wednesday, I guess it's coming Wednesday at 8 p.m. However, I do have a resolution to offer, and I'm very pleased to offer it. It's Resolution 121-15.
Yep.
And I would also, it will create a local assistance advisory board, and I'd like to also recognize and thank those individuals that are here tonight who have agreed to serve on this board. I don't know if it's appropriate. Can I point them out? Paula Ely, raise your hand. Lois Waldman, Goodchild, and Jennifer Hutchison. There are two other individuals, Megan Giulianelli and Elizabeth Baker, who have also agreed to serve. And basically, although there is a history of a local assistance board as it relates to the borough and residents, over time and changes in the way social services are delivered through the county, that old board essentially became non-functioning and frankly not active, I guess, for the last 15 years. But the plan in creating this new advisory committee today is that we do recognize that there are families in town and individuals who find themselves in need of assistance due to various changes in circumstances. Could be illness, could be loss of job, could be family, divorce, and it's usually not just one thing. Sometimes it's a number of things. And we have a number of groups in town that are very involved and very interested in providing assistance. We have the Community Fund. We have the Glen Volunteer Ambulance Fund. We have Meredith's Initiative. We have the Women's Club Community Service Committee. We have all these groups, and it seemed to us in looking at the picture, and we also have Neighbor to Neighbor in Bloomfield, who has a dedicated social worker who has also been providing through the town assistance to these families. And it just seemed to make good sense to have an advisory board to serve as a link, essentially, between the town, the organizations that want to serve, and Neighbor to Neighbor. So it was really with that thought in mind that we wanted to reinstitute, and I wouldn't even call it reinstitute, because we're really creating a new local assistance advisory board. And our members made some quick phone calls, and because this is a town of people who actually like to volunteer and like to be useful, I got volunteers, I think, I don't know, in a matter of an hour. So that really worked out well. So that's really all I have in terms of offering it, and is by way of background. But again, the theory is to get an organization that can serve as a good clearinghouse and making sure that needs of families and individuals are met.
Great.
So I guess, do I read the resolution here?
Sure.
Okay. Resolution to establish and appoint members to the Local Assistance Advisory Committee. Resolution number 12115, whereas the mayor and borough council are vigilant about the residents' needs for assistance, monitoring, and dispersing care and share funds to our residents, be it resolved the mayor and council of the borough that a local assistance advisory committee here be established, which shall work with Neighbor to Neighbor, Glen Ridge Community Fund, and the Women's Club programs to assist borough residents. Be it further resolved by the mayor and council that committee shall meet at least quarterly and is otherwise deemed advisable. All such meetings will be open to the public, at which time members of the public will be permitted to make comments during a public comment portion of the meeting, and at other times deemed appropriate by the committee, except for closed sessions, and such meetings will be held in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice of the meetings will be posted on the borough website and other media as deemed advisable, but shall not be required to be published in the official newspapers. Be it resolved by the mayor and council of the borough that the following shall be appointed to the Local Assistance Advisory Committee: Paula Ely, Lois Waldman Goodchild, Elizabeth Baker, Megan Giulianelli, and Jennifer Hutchison. I need a
Okay,
second.
I get
I'll
it.
second that.
I have one quick comment. So, are the members of this committee going to be annually appointed by the mayor?
That's correct.
This is going to be one of the mayoral appointments then at the beginning of each year?
Except for this year, because
This
we're
year-
at the end of the year, this
yeah,
is going to
they're-
be a 15-month appointment.
Is
After
it?
that, it's going to be
Is that clear in the
Your
resolution?
term-
Yes.
Yes, their term expires December 31 of 2016.
Right.
And then after that will be an annual appointment by the mayor with the consent of the
Fine,
council.
okay, fine. Okay, I've heard the resolution, it's been seconded. Any comments? Will the clerk please call a roll?
Councilperson Patrick?
Aye.
Lefkowitz?
Aye.
Dawson?
Aye.
Murphy?
Aye.
Morrow?
Aye.
And Mayor wants to be put, Mayor Hughes?
Aye,
6 ayes, no nays, the resolution is approved.
thank you. Anne Marie, anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. Comments to the administrator?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Regarding Essex Avenue, after we analyze the traffic data, we're going to be holding neighborhood meetings with both the residents of Bloomfield and Glen Ridge on Essex Avenue to go over what our recommendations are for striking
Yep,
and our next steps. So
great,
we hope to have that meeting within the next 2 weeks.
okay.
Regarding boards, we do have some vacancies. We have volunteer application on our webpage. Anyone who's interested, please fill out a form, email or mail.
Bless you.
And then finally, some bad news on Douglas Road project. In the past, we're certified local government. In the past, our street projects were reviewed and approved by our local historic preservation commission. It's decided by the Department of Environmental Protection that this particular application has to go to the sites committee in Trenton. Good news is that we're going to administratively review it rather than send it to the sites council, but it's going to push the project back by at least a month. The discrepancy is that according to federal law and DOT regulations, they promote, of course, ADA access and ramps. The sites committee is concerned with the number and the types of ADA ramps. So I hope we don't get back in the situation we had with the Glen Bridge, where DEP would not approve a bridge that was wider than 6 feet, and DOT would not approve a bridge that was less than 8 feet. If you recall that.
I do.
So we're in that kind of situation. They're asking us why we need the ramps, why are we using the red designations on the ramps. That's part of federal law. So we're working with the sites committee, but I don't see us concluding the application and approval for at least 30 days, which would definitely push this project now to the spring.
Okay,
And that concludes my report, Mr. Mayor.
okay, thank you, Mike. John? Thank you, John. Chief?
Mr. Mayor, you had asked me to comment tonight on the recent initiatives that we
Yep.
assisted the city of Newark. About 3 weeks ago, the Honorable Acting Prosecutor of Essex County, Carolyn Murray, has reached out to all municipal and college CDs asking us if we could send at least 2 officers down to the city of Newark for a 2-week period to assist them in targeted enforcement of the city. We only sent one of our plainclothes detectives at no cost to the borough. The rest of the DBs said it was a little harder for those 2 weeks. And we did get reports back that not only was it an extremely successful program throughout the
I thought it was noteworthy that one of our police officers went down as part of a countywide surge of additional police officers to help out. I think it was, 60? Was it a total of 60?
There was a total of 60 from all the municipal police departments in Essex.
In a 2 or 3 week period in Newark to try and combat what was perceived as a spike in crime, I think. And I just thought it was worth knowing that we participated in that and that we were instrumental in putting a dent in crime. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Any new or unfinished business, Mike?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Any further comments from the public? Does anybody have anything they'd like to add? Seeing none, Stuart, you want to make a motion?
Yes, Mayor, I move that this meeting be adjourned.
Okay. All in favor? Thank you, David. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The meeting's adjourned. Thank you for coming. Okay. Mike, you got anything for me to sign? Yes, I do. Okay. I already... Yeah. Yeah, I have to read that. And maybe, Art, you want to read it. Mayor, stop sign.
Yep, got it.
It was so nice of you, yeah.